Hey guys, my name is Aiden Wong. I'm a hard money lender. We've lent out hundreds of millions of dollars to real estate investors throughout the nation. And today we're going to talk about how you could effectively get 100% financing for your real estate projects. One of the biggest challenges real estate investors face, especially with fix and flip projects, is financing. A great deal doesn't matter if you can't fund it. And in today's market, getting approved for loans has become harder, slower, and more restrictive. Now, I want to make something very clear up front. I do not offer 100% financing. What we do offer is up to 90% LTV on the purchase, 100% of the rehab budget, and built-in interest reserves either for part of the term or the full term, depending on the strength of the deal. In this video, I'm going to break down how real estate investors actually structure 100% financing using a combination of high leverage hard money, cash out refinances, partners, gap funding, and other smart financial tools. These are real strategies used by active investors in today's market. Right now, lending conditions are tightening, interest rates are getting higher, underwriting is stricter, and approvals take longer. But at the same time, property values are softening and motivated sellers are increasing, which means investors who can secure capital and move quickly are in a great position. This is why understanding how to structure financing creatively is critical. Now look, here is the foundation. You need to start with high leverage hard money. The first step to building a nearly fully financed deal is getting the highest leverage possible from your primary lender. Most investors won't get 100% financing from one lender, but they can get up to 90% of the purchase price, 100% of the renovations, built-in interest reserves, all while staying near the 75% ARV rule, which is where lenders are most comfortable. This covers the majority of the total project cost, leaving only a small gap to close. Now that we've covered the senior debt, let's talk about how the remaining gap can be covered. So the first strategy is going to be bringing on an equity partner. Once the primary lender covers most of the project, one of the cleanest ways to bridge the gap is by bringing in an equity partner. Equity partners help by contributing all or part of the remaining down payment plus closing costs. They help strengthen your liquidity for underwriting. They share both the risk and the reward and help investors scale without over leveraging personal funds. This option trades a portion of profits for speed, simplicity, and stronger deal execution. Now, the second strategy that we're going to discuss is raising funds as debt. Another way to fill the gap is by raising short-term debt instead of giving up equity. However, investors need to be careful here. Recording junior liens is often prohibited by senior loan documents. Because of that, most gap funding is not recorded as second position deeds, but instead structured as a promissory note that is unsecured or soft secured debt, and as a small private loan repayable at the time of sale or refinance. This keeps the structure compliant with your primary lender while still giving you the liquidity needed to close. The advantages here are that you don't have equity dilution as you would with having an equity partner. There's a clean repayment at exit, and it's flexible interest only or balloon payments that you can structure. This is easier to raise than equity in most cases, and you'll see a lot of investors raising debt as their primary strategy. The key is understanding your senior lender's restrictions and structuring the debt in a way that stays within their guidelines. And this is a quick legal reminder. Whenever you raise money, whether it's equity, a promissory note, debt, or private loans, you're issuing a security. This means that you must follow the SEC rules and understand whether your investors must be accredited. And in many cases, you might have to file a Form D. Friends and family are not automatically exempt, and most gap funding notes still fall under security laws. So make sure you do your research and get proper legal guidance before raising debt. So the next strategy we're going to discuss is using lines of credit or other loans. This third option is leveraging existing credit lines, which are often the easiest and fastest source of gap capital. This could include HELOCs, business lines of credit, personal lines of credit, unsecured business loans, or even what's become very popular these days, credit stacking. These tools give investors fast access to liquidity without involving partners or additional lenders. Many investors use lines of credit to cover the initial gap and then pay them off once the flip sells or the refinance closes. Why investors like this approach? Well, one, you don't have to deal with partners. You don't have to deal with any equity sharing. There's no conflict with senior lender lien restrictions, and it gives you fast access and revolving availability. So the last strategy that we're going to discuss is my personal favorite, and this is tapping into existing equity through cash out refinances. either through DSCR, long-term loans, or bridge loans, up to 75% LTV. Instead of what some people might think of cross-collateralizing other properties, investors frequently tap into the equity of their existing properties through these cash out refinances. They do this in one of two ways. The first off is going to be a DSCR cash out refinance. This is the long-term debt. If an investor owns a rental property with good cash flow and strong equity, they can complete a DSCR cash out refinance. Typically, these loans are going to be capped at 75% LTV, but it provides long-term fixed financing, pulls out liquidity and equity out of an existing property to move towards the remaining down payment, closing costs, or reserves of the new project they have on the table. The second option would be a bridge cash out refinance, and this is the short-term debt. For properties that don't qualify for DSCR, or properties that are vacant, mid-renovation, or even listed for sale, a bridge cash out is the perfect tool. This is also going to be capped at 75% LTV, but it's extremely flexible and works even if the property is on the market or has no income. So let's look at a real world example here. A lot of investors have properties sitting on the market with a large equity spread. They're just waiting for it to sell. Meanwhile, a great flip deal pops up. Instead of missing the opportunity, they use a bridge cash out refinance up to 75 LTV, pull out $50,000, $150,000, $200,000 in cash, and deploy that capital immediately into the new deal, months before the original property sells. Once the listed property closes, the bridge loan gets paid off. This prevents capital from sitting idle and keeps their flipping pipeline moving. How do we win in today's market? The investors succeeding right now aren't relying on a single lender to give them 100% financing. Instead, they focus on great deals under that 75% ARV threshold. They use high leverage hard money as their foundation, tap into existing equity via DSCR bridge refinances, or they bring in partners or small gap funding to complete the stack. If you want to position yourself to compete and actually win in today's market, here's the formula that works right now. Start with a lender who can provide 90% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab, and built-in interest reserves. Unlock equity from properties you already own using DSCR or bridge loans up to that 75% LTV. Fill the remaining gap using partners, private debt, or lines of credit such as HELOCs and business credit lines. When you stack these tools the right way, you can structure deals that are effectively fully financed, even if no single lender is offering 100% financing. If you're interested in applying for a hard money loan or learning more about hard money, click the first link in the description and we'd love to help you out.